Hello, everyone. My name is Vincent Gonzalez, and today I'll be talking about communication and digital forensics. Communication is one of the most essential skills when it comes to a cybersecurity investigation because the evidence must be documented and protected and clearly understood by everyone involved. Here's a quick little overview of how we're going to be doing things. Everything is labeled from 1 through 8. And without further ado, let's get right into it. What is digital forensics? Digital forensics is when specialists collect and analyze digital evidence like files, logs, or network activity, and it usually happens after a cyber incident or crime occurs. They are part of the incident response team process, and they must make sure that evidence is preserved correctly and properly. Now, when evidence is preserved correctly and properly, that is basically the chain of custody. Now, chain of custody is very important to a case's investigation because we must know who handled the evidence, when the evidence was handled, and where it was handled. Because if we don't, that evidence may not be usable in court. Now, there are many different types of communication methods. I chose the four that I thought were really effective, starting with alerts. These are a great way to notify the forensics team when something suspicious is going to happen so they can quickly respond to it. Another one is internal reports. These are documents that are basically dumbed down so that way both parties, technical and non-technical, are able to understand what the evidence is and how and what language is being used within the evidence. Another one is ticketing systems. Now, tickets are basically to help assign priority to a case or evidence, and it gives priority over another one. It's great for tracking the status of evidence and the case itself, and also the tasks that are assigned across the team. And finally, debriefs. Debriefs are great for basically allowing for the team to share updates and give an understanding to everyone else. Kind of just like talk to each other, make sure that everyone is on a level understanding of where the case is going, and some lessons that could be learned for this case moving forward or future lessons moving forward. There are challenges when it comes to digital forensics and its communication, and one of them is jargon. Now, jargon is the use of complex terms that people who are outside of the field might not understand. For example, the use of chain of custody, imaging, or metadata. Those are all common terms in digital forensics, but outside of that, a lot of people would be confused as to what that means. Another problem is confidentiality. Only authorized users should have access to the evidence at hand. Anyone else can either make a mistake or they can damage or tamper the evidence within the case, and that evidence can no longer be used in the court. Another one is time pressure. Analysts, they usually don't have a lot of time to work on these cases. A lot of times they do, but sometimes they don't. And when that does happen, it could lead to information getting overlooked and information also becoming inaccurate. And with that could also change the entire course of the investigation. And that evidence could once again no longer be used in the court of law. But in order to prevent those challenges and problems, we can do that with effective practices. One of them is structured reports. Structured reports help keep documentation consistent so investigators always know where to find crucial evidence. Another one is visual dashboards. These provide real-time case updates, trends, and risks, giving everyone a clear, big picture view of what's going on in the case and how to move forward. Finally is secure communication. Secure communication is crucial to protecting evidence from leaks or tampering, which could honestly harm the investigation and basically tamper the evidence. Now, communication is becoming such a vital skill in digital forensics because of the growth that is going on in digital forensics. Digital forensics is becoming one of the most rapidly growing fields in the country. This graph that I took from one of my sources basically shows the United States from 2005 to 2022, which is a 16-year gap. And in that 16-year gap, we can see a major increase in data compromises. So the more digital evidence we have, the more forensics teams must coordinate to keep up and respond accordingly. Now, for finally, reflection. So what I learned when I was doing this presentation slash project is I learned the importance of how communication is in the digital forensics field. Without proper communication methods, it can lead to evidence being tampered and it can no longer be usable in the court. Um, evidence evidence that's been tampered with is ruled invalid. It's just time that's wasted. So, having proper communication methods allows for an investigation to be done properly, be done correctly, same thing. And it gives everyone a fair chance. The prosecutor and the I forgot what it's called, but basically it just gives everyone a fair chance, and the evidence is easy to understand, and people are able to come to a fair decision. And now, what I could take away from this as I want to be a digital forensics analysis is I need to work on my report building. I need to make my reports very, not lengthy, but it needs to be understood from other people that aren't in the field. It needs to, everyone needs to understand it. I need to learn and understand all these complex terms because sometimes I don't know these terms. I'm still very new to it, and so this is a great way to learn these terms. Is just by looking them up and researching them. You're also another one is you're usually working in a team. So you have to communicate. Communicating with your team is a great way to just understand, have everyone on a level field of understanding. Because when that happens, you can work together, tasks get done quicker. Everyone is, the ball is moving and no one is behind. And finally, understanding the chain of custody. When you understand the chain of custody, you know when to tamper with you know when to, look at evidence and try and dig a little bit deeper into it and when to not. Because when you don't know, that's considered tampering. And tampering can, like I've said in the past, lead to the investigation being trashed, the evidence no longer being used, and ultimately changing the results in the end. I'd like to say thank you for watching and listening to my presentation. If anyone has questions, please leave them in the comment below because this will be posted on YouTube. And yeah, thank you guys. Let me just show you my source. These are all my sources that I use. And yeah, guys, thank you. Have a good one.